This is TJR, and Superfan and I originally recorded the audio for this video back in 2022, 4th of July evening. We decided to sit on this until the 40th anniversary, which is this weekend. Hope you enjoy this. Happy 4th of July, everybody. This is TJR.
And this is Superfan.
And welcome to another segment of She Made Me Watch. And all those explosions you're hearing, well, it's 4th of July.
As we film.
As we do this, yes, as we do this commentary here. So tonight we're gonna watch the movie Goonies, which is this very iconic 80s movie.
Yes.
That I have never seen, much to your surprise. Yes, but you have, of course, because you are an 80s kid. And, but yeah, I never saw this film. Everybody loves this film. Everybody talks about it. Everybody remembers it from their childhood.
It is a cultural touch point.
Yeah, apparently it is, but I never saw it. And so let's, we're gonna watch this film. Do you want to ask me any questions before we start?
Do you have any idea what it's about?
I just know it's about a bunch of kids, and I guess they're called the Goonies. I guess it's like I'm thinking it's like a club they belong to or something. Or maybe there are like, I don't know, maybe there are like little like creatures called Goonies, maybe. Oh, I think I'm thinking of...
You're thinking of Gremlins.
Gremlins, yeah, which I have seen. Gremlins was a great little film. But yeah, that's probably what I was thinking. There was another one too, that my little nephew, of course he's an adult now, but when he was little, he used to say, I've seen Ghoulies. That was the film he would talk about. I've seen Ghoulies. And he thought because he saw this film, it made him more adult. Because it was more intense, for a kid.
It's kind of like a horror movie.
Kind of like a horror film, exactly. And he said, I've seen Ghoulies. He would always brag about that as a little kid. At any rate, though, that's probably what I was thinking of with Goonies. But yeah, it's about a bunch of kids. It's some kind of adventure. This is, I think, a Steven Spielberg film, or it's produced by Steven Spielberg.
He produced it.
Okay, all right. And I haven't read anything about this before going in. I mean, I want to go in, when we do these, we want to go in with no clue, or as little clue as possible, what the film's about. But this one, I don't know much about it, except for what I just said. So we'll watch it now. And when we come back, I'll give my reaction and we'll talk about it. Here we go. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, we are back.
Yes, we are.
And the fireworks are still happening.
Yeah, they won't stop until 2
in the morning. Probably, yeah. It's going to go on all night. Our town loves 4th of July. They love celebrating it, our little town. And it's kind of funny because we're watching this movie that has lots of, I don't want to say explosions. Well, actually, some explosions, but lots of
gunfire.
Lots of gunfire, yeah. Lots of things going boom, traps and stuff, booby traps. Lots of things going bang, and in between we've got the fireworks too. But we watched it very loud.
Yeah.
We watched the movie very loud to try to drown out the fireworks as much as possible. So I'll let you go ahead and ask me questions about the film.
So was it anything like you expected?
Kinda, yeah. I knew this was going to had that Steven Spielberg stamp on it. And of course, I realize now it was directed by Richard Donner.
Yeah.
And, but I knew it would have that Spielberg stamp. I knew that it was a film that was a favorite with a lot of people who saw it as a kid. So I figured this is going to be, a kid's movie. And it is a kid's movie. And that doesn't mean it's bad because it's a kid's movie. That word, kid's movie, I think it's a bad rap.
It's a coming-of-age movie.
To a certain extent, yeah, it's a coming-of-age movie. But what I think what I think about this film as I watch this film is that going back to kids' films, the kids' films that I remember as a kid were nothing like this.
No.
they kind of, I always kind of, when I watched a kids film, I never completely enjoyed it because I felt like the kids films were talking down to me. I felt a lot of them were kind of like dumbed down. And I could tell they were dumbed down. This is a kids film that is not dumbed down.
Yeah, it treats the kids like kids.
It treats the kids like kids. The kids act like real kids. Even though there's some over-the-top stuff in it, they still act like kids. I mean, there's a scene where everybody has to stop in the middle of the adventure and pee. And I remember thinking like, that was never in the kids films I watched.
Yeah, and they separated it to the girls' cave and the boys' cave.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. This is a kids film where there is swearing.
Yeah, they cuss at each other.
Yeah, they cuss at each other, and and all of that.
For their age group, I mean,
and it's nothing that doesn't seem out of the ordinary. I mean, it's even though a lot of fantastical stuff is happening, a lot of over the top comedy, a lot of the over the top action adventure, all this and a lot of over the top coincidences keep happening in this film, and that's the fun part of it. That's the kids' fun part of it, but it's still not talking down to you, but because it's portraying the kids the way kids really act outside of these outrageous circumstances, in my opinion. And also, even though the two criminals, there's the two criminals and then their mother, the wicked mother, even though the two criminals are bumbling like they would be in a kids' film, they are also scary too.
yeah.
This film has things that would be scary to you as a kid. I mean, there's dead bodies. It's hysterically funny when Chunk is in the freezer with the dead body. That's hysterically funny, but it's also like it's very scary as a kid. And I can imagine if you're a kid, you're feeling scared, but you're also laughing at the same time. It's got real stakes for these kids when they're being chased by these criminals. Even though they're very bungling, they're threatening, they're menacing. And that sense of menace wasn't in a lot of the kids' films that I watched as a kid. They seemed very neutered down.
Yeah.
And would this have been, I guess, did we have PG or PG-13 back then? I'm not sure.
I think it would have been PG-13.
Nowadays I think it would be PG-13, but I think all we had was PG back then.
No.
Check the year on the movie here.
It was 85.
85. I'm trying to remember when PG-13 started. I keep thinking it's...
like 82, I think.
Okay, I kept thinking it started later, but either way, yeah, PG-13 maybe, just for some scary bits. I don't know. But yeah, this was a fun movie. I can see if I had seen this as a kid, it would be this huge touchstone for me as well. I guess this is kind of like it's a bunch of kids on like a Star Wars adventure. It's got that kind of like breakneck speed to it, where once the action starts rolling, it just doesn't stop, and it just keeps going and going and going. And I can see if I had been the right age, seeing this film, it would be a cultural touchstone for me. Like, obviously it is for a lot of people. But with that said, even though I don't have that nostalgia for it, it had a lot of good comedy as well. It was a fun movie.
Yeah, it was a very fun movie.
As an adult, you just have to kind of like let yourself go. Earlier I said that kids films, kind of that word gets a bad rap. I think I can kind of see where kids films started becoming more mainstream, something that everybody could enjoy with this film.
I think that this was probably not, because there was a genre of kids films,
Mm-hmm.
but I think this is more of a family film.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I could imagine that the shifting of the genre from kids movies to family films, where everybody can enjoy them. This film,
there was something for everybody in this movie.
Something for everybody, exactly. This film would be like probably an early example of this, of that shift, where you've got these directors and people like Steven Spielberg who wanted to make films for kids that they could enjoy, but also something the adults could enjoy too, who wanted to make fun movies for families to watch together.
Yeah. And, there was your bad rich guy trying to take over and buy out the town,
Yeah, huge 80s cliche.
you know, and, well, no, it's a huge melodrama cliche.
That too, you're right. Although I think that was the way they were played. That's like I said, there were '80s films that I saw, and there are certain tropes I recognize from them. I kind of think that the Asian kid Data was one of those tropes from '80s films. You always kind of had the goofy Asian character who sometimes was very brainy. He seems to fit that trope that I've seen in other films like this.
Yeah, but there was also that very sweet moment at the end between
Him and his father. Yeah, it was a great scene that totally humanized the character when you see that.
And made it not a cliche.
Exactly. That's where it shifted away from it. So the film here stars, let's see here, it stars Sam Gamgee as our main character, Mikey. It also stars Thanos as his older brother, Brand.
Yes.
Yes, it does.
And he was already building muscle.
Yeah, he was already like working out, trying to get
Getting
prepared
ready
for
for
this.
that role.
Yeah.
But seriously, we're talking about Sean Astin and
Josh Brolin, of course, yeah. I always think about these things when I see actors that I recognize from other more recent huge films. But we've also got Corey Feldman, who is a kid in this film. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Thank goodness he's a kid. And and so a lot of these people I recognize. Anne Ramsey, of course, as the gangster mother. Of course, I've seen her. I fondly remember her from Throw Mama from the Train and other films. We have Lupe Ontiveros as Rosalita. We're looking at IMDb right now. We can't really recall this stuff off the top of our heads. But we've got her as
the housekeeper.
Yes, and I remember when she has some very funny scenes with Corey Feldman. Well, Corey Feldman has some very funny lines. And I just keep thinking to myself, yeah, let's make fun of the Mexicans. Here we go.
Yeah.
I'm Mexican, by the way. Honestly, though, if I had been her character, at the end of the film, when she finds that bag of jewels, I'd have kept my mouth shut and just walked off with those. Because, hey, they weren't exactly treating her the best in that film. So
No,
she'd known nothing. Anyhow.
What did you think was the funniest part of the movie?
Well, there's a lot of really funny parts in this film. A lot of funny bits. Corey Feldman translating for the
For the mother, yeah.
Yeah, for the mother. That was very funny. Although I'm surprised she didn't. I'm surprised that the. What was she, like a maid? What was she?
She was there to help them pack.
Yeah, I remember they said that, but I don't know what you call that job. At any rate, though, the Mexican worker who doesn't speak English.
The day worker.
The day worker, yes. They were. I'm surprised she didn't slap Corey Feldman's character because, an adult can tell when a kid is putting them on. Anyways, but it was very funny, though. There are so many really funny moments beyond just that. And that probably wasn't even the funniest moment for me. But right now, what sticks out in my head is the bit after they find the treasure and the two girls bump into each other as they're I forget, they're trying to escape before the bad guys get there. And they're each wearing some of the jewelry. And they look at each other and say, oh, I love that. And they're like, I like that. And they're just kind of commenting on each other really quickly. It was unexpected. I didn't expect it in that moment. So that to me really struck me as very funny because it took me by surprise. I would have to watch again, but so many really funny moments, though, and unexpected gags that took me by surprise, which made them funnier.
Yes. I enjoyed the part with Chunk where the Fratellis have him and they tell him to spill. They want to know everything.
He knows. Yes.
So and he starts rattling off from like kindergarten.
He confesses every bad thing he's ever done. Also, equally great in that during that scene, because then we leave and we are taken to where the action is happening elsewhere. We come back to it. And one of the gangsters is actually having a really good time hearing him confess all this stuff. He's actually smiling and like, this is really fun to hear. And at the end of it, when Chunk tells him the worst thing he's ever done, he actually says, I'm kind of getting to like this kid now. Anyways, however, that's short-lived.
Yeah.
Yeah. as they're both ready to shoot these kids at any moment. But that does go back to the fact that there's a sense of menace to these criminals, even though they are bungling and humorous. They still are threatening for these kids, and there's still a sense of stakes. And getting back to Chunk, this film is just loaded with crazy, insane, wild coincidences. And that's part of the fun of a film like this.
Yeah.
Because you're not taking it seriously. You do want to just kind of relax and enjoy it like you're on a theme park ride. But I noticed how every time he did something clumsy, which everybody criticized him for, it helped move their quest just a little bit further and a little bit further. And none of the other characters really picked up on that.
No.
Yeah. Okay, here was another really funny bit that I remember now. It's the moment where after the kids tie up Thanos to the easy chair he's sitting on with his exercise equipment, and he's on his back on that chair, and the mother comes in with the day worker, and she doesn't even bat an eyelid. She doesn't think there's anything unusual about that. It's just another day.
Yeah, why can't you work out like a normal kid?
Exactly. That was hysterical. And that's another thing I'll say about the comedy in this film. There were a lot of gags that I saw coming a mile off, but I still laughed when they happened.
Yeah.
I think at times maybe the director was actually telegraphing to the audience, okay, here comes this gag, get ready for it. And it is kind of like a lot of those Looney Tunes type of gags in those old cartoons where they're doing the same trick. They're setting up a joke that is going to happen, and they want you to know it's going to happen because the fun is in the anticipation of waiting for it to finally land. Like the Wile E. Coyote cartoons, he looks out into the street to make sure there's nothing, that's going to run him over, and it's dead silent. He looks out the other side of the street, dead silent. He looks again, dead silence. He looks the other way again, dead silence. He puts his foot out on the road, and the moment he puts his foot on the road, meep, meep, here comes the big train that runs him over.
Yeah.
Something like that. It's those kind of jokes. You see it coming a mile off, you know it's going to happen, and you still end up laughing your head off over it. So I also want to get back to your whole assessment as a coming-of-age film, because you do have this whole theme where the kids are fighting to keep their homes. They're
dealing with kind of serious adult issues.
Yeah, they're having to have to deal with it. And, but of course it's wrapped up in this fantastical adventure. And there is that scene where Mikey, played by Sean Astin, gives that little speech of, this is our time. This is our chance to do this. If we go, because this is when they have that moment to escape, to get out, when they realize they're at the bottom of the wishing well, and they have a chance to get out and escape. And he says, if we leave now, it means that we'll no longer get to live here in their town. But if they keep going, there's this chance that they could change all of it. So there is this, I see where you're coming from with the whole coming of age thing, where they have to kind of decide to make an opportunity if they see it and not run away from it, even though there is some risk involved.
Yeah.
And Mikey also gets kissed, too. He gets his first kiss. So there you have it, coming of age all the way. So yeah, overall, once again, like I said earlier, if I had been the right age at the time that a lot of people saw this movie, I would have the same feeling that it's this cultural touchstone for a generation. But with that said, I still really enjoyed this movie. It was a lot of fun and lots of exciting chasing, lots of exciting action scenes for a kids film. For a kids film, a lot of exciting action scenes, a lot of good humor and comedy. I still enjoyed this film a great deal.
And there is a certain timelessness to it too, because they didn't have a lot of touchstones to, specific things that were going on at the time.
Not too many now that I think about it. The primary references is that there is a sequence where we see Cyndi Lauper on TV, one of her songs, and so that kind of dates it a little bit. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. And there's even references to older films within it where you've got the character of Sloth who has got the TV on and he's watching the old pirate movie, and then later he repeats and reenacts the scene from the pirate movie. And so there is this sense of that this film is kind of paying homage to older action films of the the golden age of Hollywood as well.
Yeah, it was a swashbuckler.
Exactly, yeah. There's a swashbuckling aspect to it, absolutely. But yeah, fun movie. I enjoyed it. Glad I saw it. Now I know what everybody's talking about. And hope you enjoyed this reaction. And next time, of course, I'll be making Superfan watch something and we'll get her reaction, something that she's never seen before. But everybody, till then, thank you so much. And as always, if you like these videos, be sure to click like, hit subscribe, and hit the bell notification icon. And now, do you want to do the honors and thank the patron supporters?
Thank you to all our Patreon supporters. You are fierce and mighty.
Yes, we appreciate you a great deal.
If you want to be a patron supporter, you can
go to patreon.com/TJR the original. You're welcome. I had a feeling you might not remember the URL. And make a monthly pledge. And if you can't, that's okay. Just click like on these videos and play them to the end.
And you don't have to do a monthly pledge for the patron.
You can do a one-time.
You can do a one-time too. If you treat it like a tip jar if you like what you're watching.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
To support our
efforts. Yes. So everybody, thank you so much for watching, and we hope you all stay safe and healthy, and happy 4th of July.
Thank you.
At least I hope it's 4th of July out there. Otherwise, we're in big trouble. Bye.
Bye.